again for listening to Jadu Lifestyle joining us. This is our 28th episode, and as you know, we talked and interview different entrepreneurs, business owners, so that they can share their insights on what has helped them to become successful in their business and how we too can actually either embrace what they have, but we are trying to create or to help you to create a lifestyle that you would love living. And it's not focused on just one thing only, but to experience all the different talents and gifts that you have. So today we're going to do part 2 of our episode with Annette Bergman. She has been a flag creator. She's an author. She has been a real estate agent. She's also owned several beauty shops, and she's really been I guess, serial entrepreneur. Right, Annette?
Yes. Yes.
So welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is our second interview with you, and I'd like to ask you to talk a little bit about how you feel about the different aspects of the industries that you were in, because you were in several different industries. You were in the beauty business, you were in the real estate business. Technically, was it just the people business? What drew you to it?
Yes, I love people. And, like with real estate, I don't like high-pressured salespeople. And so I would tell my clients, you're going to know what feels like home to you. I don't care if I have to show you 100 homes. When you walk in and you feel like it's home to you, then that's the house for you. So, I loved it. I got to go into all these places, and I got to learn more about design and what sells and what didn't sell. And then I also realized that I could pick out a beautician's home when I went into it. I would know without knowing who lived there that person was a beautician. And 99 times out of 100, I was right.
Really?
I could also, yep. They have the creativity. And when you see the creativity in a home, or I felt like I knew because of the colors and different things that a beautician lived there.
Wow, that's interesting.
The other thing that I noticed, and this wasn't so much, I didn't notice it until one of the sales ladies said something to me about it. And she said that she could pick out a factory worker.
Really?
I said, how can you do that? And she said, because of the colors. She said they all use primary colors in their house.
Really?
Yeah. So, it was a psychology thing. And, you could almost feel the love in some houses. And then you could see dysfunction in others.
Yeah.
But I never, there was one that I really felt bad for. And I knew the children seemed neglected, but I would not have turned those people in because there's no shame in being on the lower level of an income. And everybody goes through life with steps, I've been where the only thing I had to eat was peaches.
Yes.
And that was because I was married to a serviceman and sitting on Okinawa, and I couldn't call home. And so all I could do, I even sifted bugs out of cornmeal to make cornbread. So, you do what you have to do, knowing that the next step is going to get better. And it did.
Yes.
And this harmonizing, the harmonizing.
I understand kind of the reason.
Yes. Go ahead.
In trying to, how you got to know Beautician's Home, I kind of understand it a little bit from the bodywork that I do, because I've learned things over the years. For example, if somebody has scar tissue in their abdomen, they'll walk a certain way. And so I could understand how you could come to the conclusions you do, because you're just familiar with certain things about the person, the industry. So But that's really interesting, though.
Yeah. And then I got my daughter into real estate, and she loved it too. And I gave her some clues, like I don't like to see a female real estate woman that's got cleavage showing and tight pants on. That well, I won't say what I'm thinking, but anyway, that's no way to sell real estate. You should look professional. And I noticed that if I pointed out everything that was really wrong with the house, I'd already overcome the obstacles, because a man normally would say, that's not a problem, I can fix that.
Yeah.
And so, I always talked to the lady and pointed out the problems with the house to the man. And I was the top salesman my first year in real estate, because I just don't believe in being deceptive. You need to let people know what they're buying. You don't want to sell them something that, the septic's not working, or hope that you didn't show it on a rainy day when the backyard was flooded,
Yes.
So I think honesty goes further than deception, and we've got so much deception in advertising now. I think everybody's sick of it.
Now, we have talked a little bit on Facebook. You're a snowbird, right?
Yes. I'm in Indiana now, and I'll be back in Florida the first part of November.
What made you choose Florida?
Well, my husband had a house down there, and when we married, I, found out he had a house, and he wanted to start going to Florida. And I had such a good clientele with real estate that if I were gone for 3 or 4 months, my clients waited for me. So I would come home after being in Florida, and we lived in Sarasota on Weber Street, just off of Beneva.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like to decorate homes, so I decorated that house up for him. I went to Ringling School of Art and Design for color while I was there, and got into some drafting and decorating, and I really enjoyed that. So that led to me flipping houses too. So I've lived in 38 different homes.
Okay.
So I guess you'd say I'm flexible. But I've made money off of them. And, I just look for good buys and good locations. And there's just something in my brain that said, oh, that could look like this, that, or the other. And then I get all excited and buy it. So.
You drive when you come down, or you fly?
I've been driving, but the last 2 trips have kind of worn me out, and I'll be 81 the 25th of the month. So I'm going to start flying. Yes.
Okay.
So.
That's interesting. So at 81, where do you see you next?
I think I'm going to be concentrating mostly on my writing and some yard work. I'm at the point that my daughter comes down and helps me mow the lawn, and I have a writing more, but it's still hard. But I'll do it as often as I can just to keep my muscles up. So.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about your book that you've already published. You said it was done very quickly, right? Do you have a strategy for quickly?
You mean the latest books that I've written?
Yes.
No, usually, like things that make me nuts, that is mostly short stories or articles that were published. And my broker came in one day, and I'd sent a letter to the editor. I didn't know they published it. But it was years ago when Como was first in political stuff, and he wanted to start a recycling center for cigarette butts in New York. And he didn't want anybody from New Jersey or surrounding states bringing their butts in to be recycled this cigarette recycling thing. I just found the size of the filters from a cigarette butt, to me, was way too small to invest millions of dollars in. So I just wrote an article about it and said, I didn't think he'd really thought that one through, and that I could imagine two guys, one saying, I just started a new job. Oh, where are you working? Out at the recycle. What do you do? I'm a butt inspector. It was crazy. So my broker says, you were the talk of the coffee shop this morning with your article. And then I started in on political stuff because a lot of it's crazy, if not all of it. And I just went on from there. So it's just a collection of things that I got out of my mind. And I was leaving church one Sunday, and the lady behind me, I knew her, and she said to the woman with her, this is the lady I was telling you about that wrote Things That Make Me Nuts. And she said, you've got to read it, but you have to be sure you're wearing Depends when you do that. So it's funny. It is.
Yes.
And the other one, A Break from Insanity, that's more for adult reading. But the Things That Make Me Nuts is just everyday life, like toilet stalls are too small, and how do large people get in there and the antics they have to go through. I mean, it's like they didn't put any thought to it. So I just take an everyday thing and go crazy with it.
Yes, that's kind of how I do my comedy. I have done stand-up comedy, and I find it from my life. My story of my life is where I get my humor from, especially being short. So I am you've never met me, so I'm pretty much a dwarf. I have dwarf features, but I am on the higher end of the dwarf. In fact, I'm a smidget. I'm not a midget. I'm a smidget. So,
a smidget.
Yes, it's actually a dictionary word.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't
But
know
you're
that
awesome. Whatever you are, you're awesome. I'm glad I got to meet you.
Yeah, well, I was kind of writing my jokes, and I came up with the word smidget, and I thought I was making up a word. But when I went to the dictionary, I actually found that smidget is actually a word, and it is to describe a person who is between 4'5" and 4'8". And I'm 4'8", so I'm on the higher end of this midget.
Okay, I did not know that.
Well, the thing is, like, for instance, I could drive a car without pedal extensions, but I have to put my seat all the way up to the steering wheel in order to reach the pedals. So, but there's lots of room behind my seat in the car, behind my driver's seat. But basically, when people see me, the first thing they comment on is my height. Oh my God, you're so short. And that pretty much has been my foundation for my jokes. And I talk about, stocking up on tall men and things like that. So it's I've done it. It's funny. I think I'm funny. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do it on a larger scale, but it's good to collect data, I guess, from your life. And I'm sure you have a lot of things that you've encountered so far.
Well, I think my grandmother was one with all the